What do you think about McClellan in and Lalonde out, first off?
Well, first of all, it became apparent after the back-to-back loss to Montreal and then the complete listless performance against St. Louis,
yes,
that something had to happen. I mean, when Dylan Larkin talks about being disconnected, you can just see their body language. Something had to be done. And I've never been a guy who thinks you should fire coaches in the mid-season, but the season would have been lost if they would have not done it, I don't think. And it's not just his fault, okay? The roster is definitely flawed. But you know, they got a spark, at least for tonight. Now, they obviously didn't get one Friday night against Toronto. But, look, Todd McClellan, he's been a successful head coach in this league, regular season, in 3 different places. Playoffs, not so much, but let's worry about the playoffs, if they even can get to the playoffs before you judge about that.
And that was a big difference between Lalonde and McClellan. He has coaching experience
yes,
when he comes here now. So regular season, yes, I mean, you're right. He was positive with the Sharks, Oilers, and Kings.
Yeah.
So now that he can come here and perhaps get this thing moving, I think the goal he stated was to have this team as a wild card team, or a playoff team. So I don't know if that's possible yet, but still, the direction, the momentum seems to be in his favor right now as far as getting this thing better.
Well, yes. It couldn't get much worse. So you have to give him a chance to implement his system. And the most important thing you want to see is guys with jump, with pizzazz, or just, you know, some oomph in there, because the Red Wings, part of the problem with Lalonde was they had too many games where they were just, I wouldn't say going through the motions, but they got off to a bad start.
I'll say that, going through the motions.
They never came like ready to play, so to speak. And you can't do that in this sport. When you watch other teams play, and not necessarily just the really good teams, up and down, hitting, and the Red Wings were very easy to play against. A very passive team, not a physical team. Look, I'm not saying that they got to go, you know, fight guys all the time, but just a little, you know, oomph.
Dylan Larkin said that there was a nervousness when he came to the rink on Friday before the first game, meeting McClellan and all that kind of stuff. Sonny, that's a good thing to see that kind of nervousness. And it went through the entire roster. I mean, it wasn't just Larkin. It was Kane talking that way. Sider, we're seeing the results in Raymond already.
Yeah, well, Raymond's been having a good year after his tough start. But, yeah, and, you know, the shift that they had at the end of the game where they were 6-on-4, killing a penalty, and Sider's blocking shots, and they're doing some things, and the arena was juiced. That's what it's supposed to be like. You know, how long it'll take, I don't know. You know, New Year's Eve against Pittsburgh, that'd be another one. Make it 2 in a row, and then you see what happens. It's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. You said they're only, what, 6 points back right now? But there's so many teams in front of them. It'll be very difficult.
I'm going to stick to the short term with this, and we'll see what happens in the next 5 to 7 games as Detroit maybe gets things together and maybe puts the right foot forward as we move on. And you know what? Dan Campbell talks about going on the road, Stoney, but he's going to a familiar place in San Francisco last year with the NFC title game. I mean, there's a little bit of revenge here. The players will downplay that, but I think it's there.
Oh, yeah. When they walk on that field, they're going to know what they had last year and had that chance with a 17-point lead. You know, Gibbs fumble, the 4th down, you know, controversy that he went for it and not kick the field goal, but Josh Reynolds, not on the team obviously anymore, dropping the ball. So, yeah, those memories, and they want to bury them. There's another thing with this football game tomorrow, though.
Go ahead.
Because of what happened today with Green Bay and Minnesota.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. But tomorrow night's game means virtually nothing. Because if they win, they still have to beat Minnesota at Ford Field on Sunday. And if they lose, they still have to beat Minnesota. Now, the one caveat is if for some reason that the Lions-Vikings end in a tie, then it is imperative for the Lions to win that game. But the question is, Woody, where the game, chances are, means absolutely nothing, don't you, I don't know, rest some of the guys?
I would think you might rest some of the guys.
Oh, here's what they should do. They should pretend the Lions are Cam Ward and only play the Goff and those guys for the first half. That's what they should do.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see that. But, I mean, there should be some guys who do sit out now that this game really means nothing.
Yes.
And you know what? The game means nothing because of what happened with Minnesota and Green Bay. You know, the Packers gave Detroit no help at all in the playoff chase. What's the scenario that the Lions are looking at now?
Well, looking at winning on a week from today.
Right. So as we were saying before, I definitely agree. You rest some players for this game, and you come back with everybody strong for when you really need it in Week 18.
Now, I don't know about completely sitting guys out, but I'd play guys, like I said, so play your starters the first half and see what happens. And look, I don't think Dan Campbell's going to do that. That's the complete opposite of his makeup. So no matter what idiots like myself think, I think the Lions are going to do what they have to do to win that football game.
But still, Stoney, that makes me a little nervous because you got to be careful in a situation like this. You don't want to blow it before you get to the point where you need it.
I know, but next man up. So whatever.
There's going to be a lot of next men up, and so far we have seen that scenario work for this team, both on offense and with Aaron Glenn's defensive scheme.
Yeah, and look, Minnesota, they win a lot of close games, but when you look at it, they're almost, if not as potent as the Lions are offensively. I mean, with their 3 receivers. I mean, Naylor had a really good game today.
He did.
And you got obviously Jefferson and Addison, T.J. Hockenson. They can run the ball a little bit. Darnold's playing out of his mind. Their offensive line is good, not as good as the Lions' offensive line. And their defense, Flores, has done a really good job, but they are susceptible to big plays. And you can run on them. That's going to be the key to the game. If they can run on them, they'll be all right.
I think that you say they're susceptible to that. I think it's because they blitz all the time, Stoney. I mean, it doesn't seem to matter. Run blitz, pass blitz.
Right.
These guys are always coming. And also the other thing I think you have to do in order to beat Minnesota is to eliminate yards after the catch. Because Jefferson, Addison, and even Naylor now are guys who can catch and run and burn you all the way down. So tackling is going to be at a premium.
Yes. I mean, it would just be such a sin if the Lions win tomorrow and lose on Sunday, where it's a 14-win team is a 5th seed, and they have to start on the road.
It just goes to show you, A, how strong the division is. Okay, that's one good thing. But B, there's a lot riding on a game
the Ford Field on Sunday.
Oh, it's going to be rocking. Can you imagine?
It'll be like a playoff
Ford
game.
Field with a chance to go to the number one seed. And that would be exactly what everyone was looking for.
But they have lost. Their 2 losses have been at home.
Yeah, but as we've seen, I mean, they don't go back to back with losses and all that kind of stuff. And I think they're on a roll. I know these players; they're determined. I mean, listening to St. Brown this week, and Jared Goff, these guys want this game. And I think when they get this game, then they focus. It's only 1 week at a time for this.
I know they want San Francisco. I get all that, but the fan in me is just looking. Just don't get hurt tomorrow. And win on Sunday. Everything's about the Vikings.
The Wolverines prepare for the New Year's Eve matchup with Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. The Crimson Tide, a heavy favorite, and rightly so, right, Stoney? Davis Warren said it's a little different. It's a lot different from Michigan.
Yeah, look, first of all, with all due respect, Davis Warren's the quarterback. Milroe's the quarterback at Alabama.
Right.
Okay? And you talked about, revenge for the Lions. You don't think the players who played in both seasons have a little revenge going for Michigan, even though it's a completely different Michigan team? They want to win because that loss basically drove Nick Saban out. And their coach wants revenge from Michigan, too, because he coached Washington.
Well, there you go.
It's double revenge for them.
So there's a lot on the table, but there's also a lot on the table for Sharon Moore. I mean, Michigan, a double-digit underdog in this game. Kind of expected. No Khalil Mullings because, as he's heading into the 2025 draft. So who's going to be there? Who's going to carry the load for some of this, Stoney?
Running back, Jordan Marshall. I want to see him play. Ben Hall play a little bit. I'd like to see Jaden Davis actually get some reps at quarterback just to see what he can do. Look, they're losing so many guys to the draft, guys who aren't playing. Loveland, Graham, Grant, can go on and on. And Alabama's missing some guys, too. 2 of them who are transferring to Michigan next year, Payne and Haynes. This game, it'd be great to win, to say you beat Alabama twice in a row. This game means nothing.
I knew you were going to say it, and I totally agree with you on this.
You play to win the game.
Right.
It's great. If you're a Michigan fan, you're still going to root. And if they lose, big deal.
But this is what the college playoff has done to these other bowl games, Stoney.
Right.
I mean, who cares about, Miami losing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl? It makes no difference. Who's going to care about Michigan?
Did you care, Woody? Did you care?
You know what? It hurt me.
Okay.
It hurt me a little bit, only because it's my team.
Right,
yes.
that's what I mean. So, Michigan fans
but honestly,
I know.
Come on. I mean, Cam Ward didn't play in the second half. We saw what happened. But, the same thing is true here.
Right.
Even if Davis Warren plays, will he play the whole game? Who cares if he plays the whole game?
Right. Exactly. I mean, all these games are right now, unfortunately, is practice for next year, which is good. That's a good thing about it. But
how much importance will Sharon Moore put on that specifically? Getting, because apparently these practice sessions are important in a sense to some people.
Yeah, they get guys going, especially the early and early, like Underwood was throwing the ball. He practiced with the team this week. So, yeah, that stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, but you know what? It's still back to what you said.
Yeah.
It means absolutely nothing.
Right. But you still want to root for them. You still want to watch that game.
Yes.
And you can gamble on it, too, if you want.
Well, I don't know about all that. You might have to call that number if you're really getting out there and, putting money down on these games here, Stoney.
I put the money down on a lot worse, even today.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens on New Year's Eve with Michigan against Alabama in the Rely Quest Bowl. Let's hope that it's a positive experience for Sharon Moore and the Maize and Blue. All right, let's move on to the Pistons, okay? Right now, 10th in the Eastern Conference, Tony. You've seen what's going on. That's pretty good right now. Cade averaging pretty much a double-double right now. Will he be named an All-Star?
I think he will. If he continues what he's been doing the last few weeks, the month of the season, he's been really, really good. And he's getting a lot of kudos. Kevin Durant, LeBron James talking him up. That certainly can't hurt his all-star possibilities. What I like about the Pistons right now, they're at least trying to play some defense, and it just shows you when you have a few players, Beasley, Hardaway to a lesser extent, who can actually shoot the basketball in today's NBA. And it's made Cade so much better because the floor is spaced out. And that wasn't happening here last year.
We're also maybe seeing a slowdown to some of those turnovers that Cade was so tightly associated with, because now he's trying to get others involved, and the assist numbers are going way through the roof.
I knew we know they lost last night to Denver, who's a really good team. But I can't tell you, you probably do because you wrote it probably in an intro to one of your stories this week, the last time they went on the West Coast and won 3 straight games.
I know that. I know that stat.
I'm sure
the
you
last
do.
time they went on the West Coast and were undefeated was with Flip Saunders in 2007.
Okay.
So it's been quite a while.
Yeah, look,
a lot of coaches could not get it done.
Phoenix, LA, and Sacramento, that's good. And it's obvious this team is better. Are they a good team? No. But they're young. Holland and Osar Thompson are showing us things. Cunningham and Ivy. Gee, they can play together.
Yes, they can. And you know what? If we could only see just maybe Duren take that next step, just a small step, but if he can take that next step,
more defensively than anything else,
then you've got maybe a big 4 instead of a big 3 with this team, and then perhaps the sky's the limit. This is good to watch, Tony.
Look, up until recently, or up until today, and you can still say it, the Pistons have been more interesting than the Red Wings.
Yes, they have. And you know what? You hear the fans because I know you do the postgame show out there. What are the fans saying about this team?
I think the fans like them. They like the coach. They like JB because, anything compared to last year's an upgrade. So last year, basically, you had, with all due respect, a corpse coaching that team, somebody who didn't want to be there. And they play with most nights a lot of effort, a lot of, purpose, which is good. So we haven't seen that in a while.
Well, let's see if we can have it and keep it continued. I mean, is it almost like the sky's the limit for this team? It seems that it is.
Well, I won't say the sky's the limit. Maybe the play-in game's the limit, which is fine. Just, they're not going to sit there and all of a sudden they're going to be like a 4th seed or a really good team in the East, because they're not. But if they can make the play-in game, I think that's pretty good. That's pretty significant.